The enemy has brought thoughts in a negative way, which I have fought. And when I say fight, the fight of faith to hold on to God's promises so that my mind doesn't go the negative way about the things I have experienced or that I am still experiencing. Perspectives is huge. It's huge in our lives because there are so many things that we cannot control, but so many things that keep happening. So how do we live in a world where things are just crazy? And I wonder, have you ever felt, just the weight of the world? Like I was saying, like what is going on? I mean, the weight of what's happening in your home, in your community, and then you can talk about maybe your city, your state, your country, and then the world. Some people don't even want to listen to the news anymore or even watch it, because you can hear so many things happening in your neighborhood or the streets just past your house. You're like, oh no, I don't want anything close to me. So those kind of news can easily get us weighed down. They can affect how we function and they can affect our productivity. And I'm sharing from my own experience that I've had to do this over and over again over the years. I continue to do it. Just like the Bible says, we have to continue to renew our minds. So it's not a one-day thing. It's not, okay, today I shift my perspective, then everything is okay. No, it's something that we continue to do daily, shifting our perspective. And there are times we work so hard and sometimes things still don't work right. I was reading Ecclesiastes this morning again, and I stopped at chapter 2, because when you read Ecclesiastes just from the beginning, you're like, okay, but you're like, whew, this is a negative book. Like, it's just saying everything is meaningless. But there are some verses in chapter 2 that struck my attention. And he said, but as I looked at everything I had worked so hard to accomplish, it was also meaningless, like chasing the wind. So he said, so I came to hate my life because everything done under the sun is so troubling. And that's a perspective. It's not a very happy kumbaya perspective on life. And that's how many of us have reasoned our situation. Like, what is happening? I work so hard. Some people talk about laziness, but it's not like I'm lazy. I'm working hard, but things are still not going right. The part that could even get so challenging is like, you're like, I'm praying, because some people are like, oh, pray. You're like, I'm praying, I'm fasting, I did hallelujah challenge, and I'm not getting the traction that I want. What is happening? Is that you? Where you're like, if it is to wake up at 5 a.m., sometimes 4 a.m., I wake up to the daily grind and I'm still feeling like I'm falling short. What is happening? That's a reality, not just a perspective. And when we stay in that space, it won't be surprising if we're depressed and we're anxious. And then after a while, it continues. We start feeling numb. You just numb. Yeah, like you're not even faced. You start losing the feelings and the emotions because your body will start thinking of, I have to protect myself. I can't be going through. Your body can just enter that shock mode and say, okay, we're going to protect you from the heaviness and the weight of life. And so we're going to get you into a point where you are indifferent. Whatever they pour on you, whatever life pours on you, you're just indifferent. And then sometimes it can get into isolation, and then, it can go downhill from there. So here, of course, I'm a born-again Christian. I love the Lord, and I know God does awesome things. And that is eventually where we're going with this conversation. But I am not here to tell you to deny what is happening. No. I'm not here to say just God is in control. That's all. I'm not here to say that. That will not be a balanced message. I'm here to say, yes, all these things are happening, and this is also happening. So just come on that journey with me, okay? All right, so we've established that there are things that are happening in our world and that they can be challenging. And I want to ask you, what is something that's felt heavy for you lately? What is it that has been heavy on you lately? If not you, maybe on your loved one that you know. Maybe you know someone going through something heavy, and you don't have to drop it in the chat, make it personal. What is that thing? I have gone through seasons of heaviness over the years, and some recent. Let me share one recent one with you. I know it's not the most recent, but it's a heavy one that I think that you might be able to connect with. So I went through a season where things were going well. Here, I would say even more in my career, things were going well. I was having a good time. In my finances, my business was booming and everything. And, you know, when things are going well, you get to desire more. So I wanted more. I was like, I'm gonna try something more. And I actually believe the Lord was leading me in a direction. So as I started pivoting into the direction God was leading me to, life was also happening. And one of the doors for my business closed. It was a major door. So this was a door where I was doing my counseling, and financially that door closed, but also to provide that service closed. And I had already pivoted to do something else that I was like, okay, I need this, investing in myself to train. So the combination was just not, it wasn't looking good. Like I take a financial and professional cut that I didn't want, but I also made a financial cut that I wanted so that I can grow myself educationally. And when the two of them collided, I found myself in a place where I was like, geez, God, what is happening here? I probably didn't make the best of decisions. So it was kind of like a valley that I was in. And I did struggle because I didn't know how I would get out of it. I didn't even know how change will happen. And God was continually leading me and my family to do like great things, like, okay, move from where you are to a place where, like Abraham, where I will show you. I'm like, okay, God, this doesn't sound like a good time to do all these changes. But we in obedience, we're following God. And this season has been one that every step of the way we've had to trust the Lord for it. And I'm saying that because the atmosphere right now is unstable for a lot of people. Here in the US, there's been a lot of job loss. You know, people go to work one day, you know, financially secure, and then you just hear that the government or your company is cutting and streamlining on the employees, and all of a sudden you don't have a job. And this is huge. A lot of people's health are failing because there is a connection between what's happening in your environment and your body. When stress builds up, it affects people's bodies. So many diseases right now, even cancer, are tied to stress building up within the human body. When we don't have a way to get stress out of our bodies, it can actually build up and cause our immune system to go down, making us now very vulnerable to diseases. I have examples of times when I'm like, this is heavy. Some of them are things that I thought I planned well. Some of them are things that the world just brought on me, but here I am in the midst of all of it. And I can focus on that and imagine the worst, that it will not go well, maybe change will not come. But at the same time, I can choose to focus on something else. One thing we want to avoid is that our brain, if we continue to stay in that place of it's not good, if we continue to think like that, our brain can get accustomed to that, and we want to be careful that that's not what our brain gets accustomed to. When we start going through things like that, I'm not saying that you should sugarcoat, I'm not saying avoid the problem, but at least we can start with being aware of the problem. Like, okay, this is a problem I have here, and think about it rationally. The issue that I just described to you, that I went through, you know that I can tell you in a different way. I could express that same challenge, and all you can hear is doom, and all the negatives, how it can be terrible. I can share it in that way. And for some people, they'll connect with it. They'll, yeah. But I don't see it that way. And why do I not see it that way? Have I not thought about it in a negative way? The enemy has brought thoughts in a negative way, which I have fought. And when I say fight, the fight of faith to hold on to God's promises so that my mind doesn't go the negative way about the things I have experienced or that I am still experiencing. So I've had to fight for staying focused on the right thing. So there is a need to be rational about the challenges that we have. I asked you, I said, what's something that has felt heavy lately? And what's that thing that is really happening? When you describe that thing, is it a lot of exaggeration? Because our brain knows how to exaggerate. It knows how to make it look like the worst thing that can happen in the world. And our brain knows how to catastrophize what is already not good. It just blows it up and tells us all the worst scenarios. No, it will not even let you look at what's good about it. A lot of that too is how the environment sees things. So you're seeing things the way the environment sees it, or how the enemy sees it. And he's just bombarding you because he doesn't want you to see what God is seeing. So make a conscious choice, even as we're talking now, that how do I describe the challenges in my life? Am I prone to saying that it's the worst thing that could ever happen? Am I prone to exaggerating my problem and diminishing the good things that are happening in my life? Think about that. So we're not ignoring the truth. We're standing on God's truth. You want to be realistic about how you're describing it.